In it, the men of the village, after the poop has been gathered, wrestle, sling, and get absolutely covered head to toe outside and in some cases in with the cow poop that has accumulated there. Yes, you heard that. They absolutely sling Shaz, literally covering themselves in it. They go full Shrek in this cow swamp. Welcome back to Privy. Privy is a podcast about bathrooms, recorded from my home bathroom. I'm your host, Hunter Hoover, and I love bathrooms. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for being here. And it feels weird for us to still be kind of talking about things as if it's the new year. I feel like everybody references the new year as long as they're in January, which feels funny because, like, we're at the point of this episode's record, we're almost fully 3 weeks into the new year. But these 3 weeks, I feel like it's almost April. Yeah, it really hitting the ground running, and just the new year is off to a rapido start. So the new year, something we've endeavored to do on Privy. And 2026 might be the year of things we don't understand, but we've truly kicked off the year with some things that we don't get, that we have no frame of reference for, and truly just like dipping our toe into some things. We took a look at brain rot, and we tried our hand at like making a bathroom themed brain rot. His name is Professor Podcastini Porcellini, so yeah. There's that. We contributed that to the internet. So, yeah, you're welcome. Skibbity, Ohio, whatever. But we also, like, last episode, we heard from Keaton and, like, talked about stuff that we really have no frame of reference for, and the effects of cancer and chemo on what goes on in the bathroom. And so this episode, in the theme for January being stuff we don't get, we're going to be taking a look at a bathroom phenomenon. I'm going to call it a phenomenon because that is really what it is. This is a phenomenon that we're going to have to just discuss it and just kind of try to appreciate it for what it is. And I will admit, this is something that landed in my notes a long time ago. I actually stumbled on this topic back when I was doing research for I think it was like the Muslim like saunas and bathhouses and stuff. This idea actually popped up in there related to how different cultures view poop. And it lived in my notes app and then went back onto the list in another format when it came up by way of controversy very recently in the end of last year. To give some background for what we're going to be talking about today, I will admit we're going to be talking about religions and cultures that I am not a part of, but we need to do so to better understand this phenomenon that we're going to observe today. In early October and November, many Hindu people, Sikh people, and Buddhist peoples celebrate a multiple day-long festival of lights known as Diwali. Diwali is celebrated to celebrate the way in which the light is victorious over the darkness. Good is victorious over evil. Cultures celebrate Diwali in a variety of ways, much like we have a variety of celebrations for Christmas. They have feasts, lamp lighting, gift giving, a lot of this stuff. And I should be, here's to bear my ignorance here. My interactions with Diwali are what Michael Scott has to say and what Dwight Schrute have to say towards Kelly Kapoor in The Office when she notes that she celebrates Diwali. And for, I think, a lot of these reasons, the similar time of year, the relation to giving gifts and lamp lighting and the such, I think a lot of people have just thought of Diwali as like Hindu Christmas. That's definitely not it, because I don't think Hindus like celebrate Jesus. But yeah, it kind of gets almost perceived as almost just like a Hindu Christmas. That's definitely how, again, in the office, that's how they played it. It's like Hindu Christmas. And again, that is my only entry point to this. Many cultures observe Diwali as a series of 5 celebrations, and these 5 celebrations have a number of rituals, many of which recognize or seek to recognize and invoke the name of various Hindu deities related to these celebrations. So like you do the celebration and you invoke the name of some Hindu god, deity, whatever. One common deity that comes out of Hinduism that is associated with Diwali is the goddess Lakshmi, who is a fertility deity and is tied to beauty and prosperity. Now, you might hear all this and you go, Hunter, it's fully January. Like we are knocking on February's door. It's almost hog season. Those who know. The hog is upon us. Groundhog, if you will. And many might hear that and go like, why is Hunter going on about Diwali? Like, for goodness sakes, we're almost fully into hog season. And we're talking about this because, as I noted, there is some controversy. And because I am ignorant to much of the Hindu culture, primarily because I don't really want, like, it's one of those things where I think different cultures all like, oh, they're ignorant of my culture. Yes. And like, because it's not my culture, like, I'm not going to dive just sully deep into it because I'm going to get as far into it as I need to talk about the things I need to talk about. Let's just put it that way. And I don't know much about Hinduism, but I know enough to be dangerous. But I know a lot about bathrooms. And so when my online rabbit trails from years yonder gone lead me to the bathroom, as they often do when I am in the bathroom, here I am. Welcome back to the sanctum. Yeah. What are we working on? We've fully moved our way out of the pumpkin spice dude wipes. We're into the dingleberry dude wipes. So dingle bells, we got some Christmas tree scented dude wipes. It's actually nice. Little pine tree scented booty wipe. Not a bad gig. I'm going to tell you the truth about it. And we're still working on the pumpkin spice. The pumpkin spice is the gift that keeps on giving. I hope you all enjoyed our ranked pumpkin spice from the fall because we're in the middle of winter and we're still living in it. I bought way too much pumpkin spice products. That's what you need to know. But these online rabbit trails, they lead me hither and yon to things that land in my Privy Notes page, again, that this landed on there over a year ago, this idea. But then, back in the beginning of November, I heard about it again via this controversy that had arisen online related to this topic. And in short, as was noted, different groups observe and celebrate Diwali in different ways. One such group and one such gathering of people is a local tradition by the Gumatapura in South India. Now, the Gumatapura, and listen, I'm probably butchering it. I'm sorry. I'm pronouncing it as it's written, Gumatapura. But the Gumatapura region and people here, they're mostly an agrarian village located in southern India. Agrarian mean like farming, agriculture. They're farmers and ranchers. They raise animals, they grow crops, the like. But what's interesting is everything else about Gumatapura, the village, is mostly unknown or is only tied to the village's chief claim to fame. And that is, if you look up Gumatapura, if you Google that, primarily one thing is going to pop up. And that is a festival that they celebrate after the fourth day or the fourth light, quote unquote, of Diwali. The background to this festival is caught up in kind of a as the story goes type thing. And so, as the story goes, the village, Gumatapura, had a chief deity named Bierhalle or Birashwara Swami. I don't know. But this deity, Bierhalle, is associated primarily with the shepherding communities of South India, of which one of them is Gumatapura. It should also be noted, Bierhalle or Birashwara Swami, these are very localized deities, like it's like the god of this county type thing. And specifically, Bierhalle is one that this town, Gumatapura, has claimed as their own. It's their, like, town god, if you will, in many ways. The legend for why this town did this was that Birashwara or Bierhalle was originated from and was birthed from cow dung. So that's fun. Cow poop is often viewed as sacred in many ways and is a special material in Hinduist belief and practice. Cow poop is, again, often associated with the goddess Lakshmi, who is celebrated by many at the time of Diwali. And we're not really here to explore, like, the ins and outs of Hinduist theology and thought. Like, I think there will be an episode in our future where we look at specifically, like poop gods, quote unquote. But our attention for today is particularly and primarily aimed on this village and the festival they celebrate commemorating this god, Bierhalle, who was born from out of cow poop. I don't really know how anything is born from a turd. And I'm not saying that to be like, well, he's downplaying it. I just don't, like, my brain struggles to, like, wrap itself, like, was it a large cow? Or is it a very tiny god? Like, that's where I'm struggling. I'm struggling with the size thing. I grew up in Montana around many cows. I'm well acquainted with about the size of the patty it lays. And so I'm trying to understand what, if anything, would be significant enough to be born, quote unquote, out of a cow pie. And I think this is the thing. There are millions and millions of Indian people. Heck, there's probably pushing billion plus. There's millions of Hindu people. And the slice of people who celebrate this god in the way we are going to observe and describe is relatively few. In fact, there's probably but a couple hundred, maybe even just a few thousand people who celebrate this god, Bierhalle or Birashwara Swami, in this way. And so, like, what are they doing to celebrate? And why does it have our attention? And better yet, how could there be that much controversy related to this thing? Because their village deity stemmed from a cow dung, and because they are primarily an agrarian village, farmers and like herd raisers, they celebrate the end of Diwali and honor their local deity through an observance known and now very popular on the internet as Gorehabba. The festival or the practice of Gorehabba has been going on for some time. According to the village, and I will note, when I say according to the village, you're gonna find out where I got a lot of my info. It was like, yeah, we'll get there in a second. But that they've been practicing this celebration for 300 years. And I'll admit, that's a long time. That's longer than we've been these United States. And while the internet articles about the ceremony detail that the events start early in the morning, what I've seen is a celebration that begins weeks, if not months, in advance to the actual celebration of Gorehabba. In the morning of the festival, men, women, and children begin collecting cow dung to be placed behind the local temple inside the village. When I say that, from what I've seen, that these preparations begin months in advance, because in the images and video I've seen of these Gorehabba celebrations, this is not an overnight supply of cow poop. This is not even like a weekend collection of cow dung. I'm talking hills and just small mountains of cow poop piled in the streets of this village outside of their local temple. It's a lot of crap. Like a significant amount of cow poop. Yeah, it's a lot. And mountains of cow poop is one thing, like piling up all this poop. But it's what these folks do in observance of Gorehabba as a part of this festival, and what they do with the cow poop is why we need to talk about this on the show. The village, in honor of their local deity, again, hosts Gorehabba, which has become known as the Cow Poop Festival. In it, the men of the village, after the poop has been gathered, wrestle, sling, and get absolutely covered head to toe outside and in some cases in with the cow poop that has accumulated there. Yes, you heard that. They absolutely sling Shaz, literally covering themselves in it. They go full Shrek in this cow swamp. And the reason that they do this is not just to be extreme or do something crazy. The town and the village believes, because of the poop's relation to Lakshmi and Bir Saba and this other the benefits of cow poop in their worldview, it's believed, because of the Hindu practices surrounding all these things, that this is actually an act of purification, that it actually helps heal skin conditions and other ailments of the people, and it could even increase your ability to have children. Now, there's a smell factor that I would argue is going to significantly diminish your ability to have children because you've engaged with this, but I digress. There are some rituals that are reported as accompanying the Gorehabba events and precede them. The first is there is a seeming oil and butter offering to puja. Not sure that happens at the temple. I didn't see it in the footage that I saw. Then a person is designated as someone called the snake, and they're given a fake beard and a mustache and are made of herbs. So they make this herb mustache and beard, and then they're put on a donkey and they're brought into the temple. The fake facial hair made of herbs is then buried inside the mountain of cow poop, and once the puja has been offered, presumably to the poop, the priest has been sprinkled with cow dookie, splat splat, the poo fighting can officially begin. Gorehabba is on. After the poo-flinging portions of the festival, the people burn an effigy of Chatakora nearby. Not sure. Rough day to be Chatakora. The people bathe in the lake, and then they return to worship in the temple. And I also want to note, Gorehabba is not the only cow poop fight or festival that takes place. One, the Pittakala War, held in Kairupala due to a folk legend that their goddess Bhadrakali and the god Vira, this is tough names, but that these two deities were going to get married, and then there was some dispute, and the villagers, in support of either side, began throwing cow poop at one another, as you do. And the cow poo flinging lasted an hour, agreement was made, and the so-called gods were wed. But it should note that this Pittakala War is a lot smaller than Gorehabba. Gorehabba, really, this one has just truly popped off. And while there are plenty of these type festivals, I'm sure, from what I can say is, well, from what I've observed and what I can say is there is a lot of poop. They've been slinging poo for 300 years, according to this documentary that I'm going to tell you about in just a moment. But with the advent of the internet, word has got around about Gorehabba. Our world has heard about the Gorehabba festival, and as such, it was only a matter of time before people showed up to document. And it was only a matter of time before this podcast covered the festival formally. There's been coverage of Gorehabba, but all that coverage was typically as a reporter or an onlooker who shows up, maybe films a bit of what goes on, and then goes away. That was until YouTuber Tyler Oliveira showed up. Now, I'll confess, Mr. Oliveira, I highly doubt you'll hear this, but if you do, I never heard of you until this controversy, and I'm sorry about that. I don't really know anything about you. I don't know what you stand for, but I do know that you got absolutely lost in that sauce. And so, formal and fully open invitation, if you want to come on here and just share with the world via a podcast, bathroom podcast medium about your experience, I would love to pick your brain on that. I would love to get that firsthand, but we digress. Tyler Oliveira is a YouTuber who is most known for doing gotcha journalism. I don't know if that's how I would categorize it, but that's what some of the synopsises online say. And on the ground, candid, firsthand journalism. And boy, does he go firsthand. I mean, my dude got so firsthand with this. And this is the controversy of the thing. All of this made its way back around to me this last fall because Tyler Oliveira made this YouTube video detailing the Gorehabba festival and the things which occur there and the reactions of the internet and the Indian community. They're very confusing to me. Tyler Oliveira has been doxxed, accused of making light of their religion and other aspects of the festival. But I went and watched all of his footage. And first of all, highly entertaining. Great job. And I will tell you, poking fun and being mean was not the vibe at all. First of all, Tyler shows up on this. You can go watch it on YouTube. I might even put the link in the ding dong below. But Tyler shows up and he gets firsthand accounts from the people in the community, the village there, about the festival. He asked them about its beginnings, why they do it, why they're excited for it, and what it means to them as a people. He's doing journalism. He also notes through the events leading up and during the poop slinging how welcoming and nice the people of the village were to him. This is not like a white guy shows up and fixes the people of the area. That's not it at all. It's actually white guy shows up and plays the role of ignorant outsider via firsthand learning and humble, just out of your element, interactions. And I want to say, it's fun to watch. Poop aside, it's a good watch. And the people in the village seemed genuinely to be having a blast, hitting Tyler Oliveira, who, by the way, my dude got absolutely up to his chironies in cow poo. He went farther than I think any person outside of that cultural context could ever go. I'm going to even say it. I've got this reputation for being this kind of dumpster homeless guy who likes to talk about poop and loves bathrooms and has been a janitor and all this stuff. Tyler went deeper than I would go, for sure. I had, just watching what I saw, I had actual concerns for safety. In fact, I might even see if I can pull up just a little bit of little something for you here. So let me see if I can do this. Let's share screen here. So this is like footage of Gorehabba. Like, it's truly baffling. Like, look at the size of those poo turds. Oh my gosh. Like, and they're watching, they're filming it, you know. Look at this. They're having a blast. Like, and so, like, let me stop sharing here. There we go. And so I share that. I show that, first of all, to give you some context for what it looks like to be in. You notice that it's hard to distinguish where the cow poop ends and just the world begins again. And this guy, Tyler, he gets lost in that sauce. Like, he's fully into it. And I mean, he went all the way. He got hit in the face with like a soccer ball sized cow poo. And the people who were skeeting this sheet at him are just, they ain't like, why are you here? They seemed thrilled that he's there. They want him in that mix. And so, like, there's some concerns about this. First, there's a concern that Tyler Oliveira is joining and filming their religious practices. But I want to just tell you, there have been plenty of outsiders and interviewers and journalists who have gone to India and filmed and reported on this ceremony. And so, like, if it's just that Tyler joined them, like, they invited him to, they wanted him to, they really talked him up and into the thing. There's a concern that he's showing up with, like, more money worth in tech on his body and in his team than maybe the whole village has had, and participating in a lot of the worldviews as a religious practice, as a means of entertaining. You know, again, I watched the footage, and he's nothing but genuine in his desire to, in my perspective, he seemed genuine in his desire to learn from them. He makes jokes, yes, but most of his jokes are him trying to cope and trying to separate himself from the reality that is going on around him. And that is that there are multiple men throwing basketball size balls of cow crap 10 feet and hitting another dude, like giving the dude whiplash from how hard the turd hits them. The jokes he make don't seem racially or religiously disingenuous. Most of them were around the fact that somebody hit him in the face with a giant glob of cow shaz, big enough to make like a center portion of a modest-sized snowman. I mean, the dudes just get obliterated with cow poop. A couple of times the people get hit, and it's like they have a neck injury. Like, truly, they have sustained neck, spinal, and probably cranial damage due to the sheer girth and size of this cow poop. Much of the controversy surrounding the documentary, which here's the thing, it isn't exactly a documentary. I want to note that. It's 30 minutes long, as it's more of a first-person on-the-ground narrative journalism of the thing. And I want to note, I'm not Indian. Not that type of Indian. So maybe it wasn't mocking to me, but like, I think they should keep this in mind, and we should keep this in mind. Oliveira was welcomed by the village to participate in these things. And the village seems super into the idea of him doing it. Second, he said from the get-go, I'm from Texas, USA. He's not pretending to be Hindu. He's not pretending to be Indian. He's not even making fun. He's like, I'm a white guy from Texas. Also, in his video, we learn that there are non-Hindu people in the village who participate in Gorehabba because it's a tradition for the town. It's kind of like celebrating Christmas, but not like worshiping Jesus. It's like a cultural thing that you do. You wouldn't want to miss a chance to, like, skeet a crap ball at your buddy so hard at the side of his head that it clogs his ear canal with cow poop. You wouldn't want to miss that for the world. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you never want to miss an opportunity to just absolutely just yoink the side of a brother's face with just a cow patty deluxe so hard that it lodges cow feces deep inside of his cranial cavities. You want to draw blood with the cow poop. And in my opinion, I think there's a group of people who are offended by Oliveira, who is lumping them in with what, in many ways, is a pretty localized tradition. Like, they feel like he's being insensitive by participating as the white guy, and he's painting with a broad stroke all Indian and Hindu people for a thing that one smaller group does. Like, watch the video. There's other press there when Tyler Oliveira shows up, and they just get a free pass because they didn't get poo flung at them. In fact, like, this should be his free pass. He did the thing. You know what? None of those other villagers got hit in the face with cow poop. Like, or the other press members. Then none of them got. And so, like, if that's the rite of passage, I guess I'm good with that. Like, Tyler Oliveira, I think, has earned the right to be talking about this because they welcomed him to join, and he joined, and he got absolutely obliterated with these poopies. During the video, people being interviewed are welcoming and encourage Tyler to participate. After the fact, local coverage and coverage by Indian TV, they seem to paint it as if they didn't want Tyler there at all. But, like, that's not what I saw. These dudes were all smiles as they were smashing a young man with some cow poo. And so, to wrap all this up, we need to ask ourselves, why? Why would the people continue to do this 300 years later? What are some of the dangers of participating in Gorehabba? In short, as is noted, the people of the region do it based off their Hindu beliefs related to the sacredness of the cow and the properties of the poo from the cow and the properties that it carries. Even in the interviews that Tyler does, they spend plenty of time stressing that no one in the village has had any skin conditions. They make a point of that over and over and over. Yes, we do this, and nobody in our village has had any skin conditions. Like, they come back to it time and time again. Now, whether that is true or not, I'm unconvinced because medical logs and records from the area show that skin conditions are a huge aspect of many parts of India. And so that's me. That's me kind of being a little scamp, but I remain unconvinced about that claim. There are stories online of people supposedly eating cow poop in areas throughout India to try to cure cancer. But getting it hit in the face with a cow, just a cow nuke, does carry some risks. Not limited to bacteria, viral parasitic infections, physical injury due to the sheer girth of these turds. Some common concerns in the bacterial world include E. coli, Salmonella, Campylobacter, and Listeria. You could get protozoa, Cryptosporidium, looked at you, Crypto, you're in the swimming pools, and Giardia, hepatitis E, rotavirus, and even fungal infections could occur from contact with these cow poopies. My cousin in Montana, he works on, or used to work on, a farm or a ranch, and he actually got really sick because he got some cow poo that got, like, in his system. Real sick. This stuff's real. I know people who've had hepatitis from poop in the last 2 to 3 years. That's real as heck. So, like, yeah, it's a tough look. And I've heard the stats. It's like you're less likely to catch a lot of this bacteria because it's cow poop and cows don't eat meat and all this stuff. But, like, you could still get it. And, like, the sanitation situation there is not great. It's a tough look. And what I think a lot of these Indian people didn't get that sick because they've built up maybe an immunity somehow to many of these things. I don't know. Or maybe they just have a lot of these symptoms so often that it's just like, wait, not feeling that way is a thing? I don't know. But what we do know is that Gorehabba is wild. It's a wild Indian cow poop festival that they celebrate to commemorate one of their deities being born out of cow poop in hopes that they will have good health and good cheer as they close out Diwali for another season. I don't think I'd ever partake. And to tell you why, I have to tell you a hunter's anecdotes to keep you afloat. This hunter's anecdotes is called cow chip dodgeball. So, as I've noted a few times on the show, I grew up in Montana. And one of the things that happens in Montana is there's cows, and cows do what cows do, and cows poo. And the other thing that happens in Montana is it gets terribly cold. And one of the things that would happen is sometimes it necessitates, whether because there's work needs to be done, or you got to patch a fence, or you got to do something, but like you would have to go be out in the cold doing work. Yeah, I know. And there's times where you would do that, and then the sillies would fly. One of the things that happens is, like, traditionally when cows poop, it's warm when it comes out. And so when it hits the ground, it kind of makes this like splat, splat, splat. And it looks like a little frisbee, little, they call it a mud pie because like it'll harden, but it'll still be soft on the top, a little cow pie. And like if left, eventually it'll harden up and it'll do its thing and whatever. But sometimes like the cows would poop and it'd be so cold that the cow poop would actually like freeze pretty quick after hitting the ground, to the point where when you're out in the field, it would be difficult to tell at first sight which cow poos are like the freshies and which cow poos have been there for 2 weeks. Because, you know, if it's 10 below zero, 10 degrees even, and a cow pooped 3 hours ago, like in normal conditions, that's still going to be pretty soft. But like in the frigid ground and the frigid air of Montana, that cow patty is going to harden up moderately quickly. And we were out fixing some fence for some farmers in the area to help earn money to go to Denver as part of a missions trip. And while we were there, we had finished the project. They were just closing up some stuff, but we were waiting for some of the final like logistic things to get closed down. And being bored Montana kids, we decided to have a cow chip fight. And so what a cow chip fight is, it's exactly what it sounds like. You pick up a hard, dried cow turd, and you break off pieces of it and you throw it at your buddy and you're trying to like dodge it. It's kind of like dodgeball, cow chip dodgeball. And so this is, you know, we do this all the time. Pine cone fights, cow chip fights. It is what it is. You know, like everybody does, you throw cow crap at each other on the weekend. We all get it. But what happens is sometimes like some people are not as ready for the things that happen. And 90% of the cow chips that are thrown, you know, they hit you and they break, and they've been produced for some time. They're not fresh. They're not soft. There's no real stink going on. But we had this friend, which I'm going to say his name because I don't even care, Matt. And Matt had very long hair. It was a point of contention, and we were probably not as nice to him as we should have been, but like, I don't really care. He had long hair and it was kind of weird. And Matt, he was always there for the hang, but like my recollection was like when things like got real and, you know, people started to have a little bit too much fun and that fun got aimed at him, he didn't want to play anymore. And so we were playing cow chip dodgeball. And I don't remember who, but one of my buddies picked up a cow chip And again, 90%, probably 95% of these chips are hard. They've been dried. They're not going to do nothing. But he slung this cow chip, and as he let go of it, it was like a frisbee, and it like separated, and you can tell that it was a little soft still. This is one of those frozy patties that had not completely frozen. And as it broke up, it had like little chunks, and it hit Matt. And, you know, he's got a little bit of cow poop on him. It ain't going to hurt nobody. It's fine. But what was real bad is one of these loose cow chippies got stuck in Matt's hair and was like stuck, and it was like swinging around as he like flails to try to get it off, and it like hit him in the mouth, and he was like flipping it around, and you know, we're laughing and cackling, and he's mad. And I learned a lot of lessons that day. You don't want to be on the other end of a soft cow turd. And if you are on the other end of a soft cow turd, you want to have as little hair involved as possible. This has been Hunter's Anecdotes to keep you afloat. And with that anecdote, that brings us to the end of another episode of Privy. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. If you would, leave us a rating and review. 5-star options are preferred. Those ratings and reviews help others find the show. You can do that on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts. And every rating and review you leave, we will donate $1 to Wounded Warriors and Living Water International. We might be looking to add another way to give back this year. So we're looking for the right fit. So stay tuned. But yeah, ratings and reviews, as a reminder to keep pooping in the free world. And if you leave those, maybe we'll even read, if you leave a written review, we'll read it out here on the show. It might be your opportunity to make me say some silly stuff. 5-star options are preferred, as a reminder to keep pooping in the free world. This free world was not always free. And in pursuit of cleaner water for all, everybody should have it, but not everybody does. We also want to thank Kevin MacLeod and Poddington Bear for the use of their music. You can find descriptions of the ding dong below. Thanks to all those whose music we use that is accessed through YouTube's free music media library. You can find links to any artists that we use in the show in the ding dong below. I guess thanks to Tyler Oliveira for your hard work out there in India. As always, we just like you, follow us on social media. We're at Privycast. You can follow me. I'm at Al7. Yeah. You can, if you're really brave, you can go follow at Randy Bowles. Send us an email, privycast@gmail.com. Episode suggestions, comments, concerns. Do you want to be on the show? Do you have a bathroom story to tell? I would love to collaborate with you in some way. privycast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Go check out the website, Privy-Cast. We're working on some store stuff. Stay tuned for that. This brings us to the end of another episode of Privy. Keep pooping in the free world. Own your stank. Watch out for flying cow chips. And now, as always, don't forget to flush.
Flush.